All right, let's talk budgeting. Are you ready to get past the basics and really dig into the advanced stuff? You know, the techniques that are going to make you stand out on the CMA exam? Good, because in this explainer, we're going to build you a killer toolbox of budgeting methods. This isn't just about passing the test, it's about turning you into a super strategic financial pro.
So let me ask you something. Does this sound familiar? You're building a budget, and someone just says, just take last year's number and add 5%, right? We see it all the time. But here's the massive problem with that thinking. It's lazy. It assumes last year was perfect, and it just rolls all those old, inefficient habits right into the new year. That's a recipe for standing still, not for growing.
Yeah, that whole approach has a name, incremental budgeting. And look, I get it, it's fast, but the CMA exam will absolutely test you on its biggest weakness. It is so short-sighted. It just copies and pastes everything, all the waste, all the goofy spending, all the bad habits, and bakes them right into the new plan. We've got to do better than that.
And this visual just nails the difference, doesn't it? On one side, you've got incremental budgeting. It's like a staircase, just stacking new blocks on old ones. But look at the other side. That's a totally blank canvas. And that is the heart of our first big tool, zero-based budgeting, or ZBB. It is the complete opposite of just looking back. It's about starting totally fresh.
So here's the absolute key to ZBB, and you gotta remember this. You start at zero. Literally zero. Nothing gets a free pass. Every single manager has to build a case for every single dollar they want to spend, right from scratch. It's an amazing way to kill that whole use it or lose it madness at the end of the year and get rid of all that sneaky budget padding that creeps in.
Okay, so when do you actually use this thing? Here's your exam tip. If you see a question about a company that's in a total mess and needs a complete financial reboot, or one that's trying to get rid of years and years of wasteful spending, boom, ZBB is your answer. But, and this is a big but, you have to remember the downside. It takes a ton of time. Seriously. So in the real world, you probably wouldn't do it for the whole company at once. You'd be smart about it, maybe targeting one or two departments that really need it.
All right, let's grab the next tool from our toolbox. We're shifting gears now from a clean slate to what I like to call a logic-first approach. This is activity-based budgeting, or ABB. And what's so cool about ABB is that it directly links your budget to the actual work people are doing. It gives you this incredible insight into why you're spending money.
And this is the big mindset shift right here. ABB stops asking, how much did we spend? And instead, it asks, wait a minute, what activities are we actually doing? It's a total game changer. Instead of just tracking expenses, you're understanding what drives them. It's all about connecting the dollars to the doing.
Okay, so how does it work? It's actually a pretty logical flow. Step 1, you identify an activity. Let's say processing purchase orders. Simple enough. Step 2, you figure out the cost driver. What does it cost to process one single order? Let's say it's $50. Okay, final step, you calculate what you need. If you expect to process 1,000 orders next year, you just do the math. 1,000 orders times $50 an order, your budget is $50,000. See? Your budget is now a perfect mirror of your actual operations.
All right, our next one it's just a really cool concept. It comes from Japan, and it's called Kaizen budgeting. The word Kaizen basically means continuous improvement. And what this method does is it builds that idea, that philosophy of always getting better, right into the numbers of your budget. So it's not just about planning for what you're doing now, it's about planning to do it better.
Yeah, I really love this quote. It just says it all, right? A Kaizen budget isn't just a boring spreadsheet, it's a challenge. A normal budget kind of assumes things will stay the same, but a Kaizen budget, it sets the expectation from day one that your teams are going to get smarter, they're going to get faster, and they're going to find more efficient ways to work as the year goes on.
And you can see exactly how this works right here. Let's say in January, the budget assumes it takes 10 hours to make one widget. Okay, fine. But with a Kaizen budget, it mandates that in February, you got to get that down to 9.8 hours. And then in March, 9.6 hours. It forces those small, continuous efficiency gains. And think about what that does. It creates this culture where everyone is always looking for a better way to do things.
You ever have this happen? You work for weeks on an annual budget, and by, like, April, it's already completely useless because the world changed? Yeah, it's the worst. Well, our last tool, the rolling budget, is built to solve exactly that problem. It's all about keeping your plan fresh and relevant no matter how fast things are moving. So here's the key idea.
With a rolling budget, sometimes called a continuous budget, you're never really done. There's no end of the fiscal year where you just stop. The budget is always looking out a set period, like, say, 12 months into the future. It forces management to constantly be thinking about what's coming next, not just what's happening right now.
And this timeline shows you exactly how it works. Look, as soon as January of 2026 is finished, you drop it off the front and you add a new budget for January 2027 to the back end. Your planning horizon is always a full 12 months ahead. This is absolutely critical for any company in a fast-moving industry. Think about tech or fashion. An annual plan made last December is basically a historical document by November, right? This keeps it alive.
Okay, let's pull all of this together. You now have 4 seriously powerful tools in your budgeting toolbox. And I'm telling you, getting comfortable with these is a huge advantage, not just for acing the CMA exam, but for your actual career. The whole point is learning to look at a situation and know exactly which tool, which lens, is the right one for the job.
Think of this as your go-to cheat sheet for the exam. It boils everything down. If a question is talking about needing a clean slate, you're thinking zero-based budgeting. If it's about connecting money to workload, that's activity-based budgeting. If they're talking about forcing the company to get more efficient over time, that's Kaizen. And if it's about always planning ahead in a crazy market, you go with a rolling budget. Simple as that.
And listen, as you're studying late at night, remember this. This isn't just about memorizing terms for a test. It's about becoming that person in the meeting who can listen to a problem and say, you know what, I know the right tool to fix this. That is how you provide real strategic value. You're doing amazing work. Just keep at it.
So, I'll leave you with one final thought to kind of bring this all home. Think about your own company, or a company you know really well. Which one of these tools does it need the most? Seriously, think about it. Getting into that mindset is how you go from just knowing this stuff to actually using it. Thanks so much for joining me, and I wish you the absolute best with your studies.